Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me this afternoon is your Chief of Police, Chief Chad Breckling. Chad, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
I am wonderful, wonderful. We've got a lot of topics to get to. Spring is in the air.
Finally.
I've been saying it like every show. Like,
Yeah.
we're not looking back to winter. It's just gone.
Although I saw somebody put out a photo of some snowflakes last night in the Madison area.
Yeah, it's still.
Yeah.
It is spring, I guess. But...
Kind of. Still a little chilly at night, but we're head on moving into spring.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna talk about some springtime safety tips as
Sure.
well, as people are getting outside now, starting to walk, bike, all of that stuff, and we want to make sure we keep everybody safe here in the city, of course. But first, I want to turn attention to an update that we just received last week, and it was following a assault outside of an exercise.
Yeah.
Facility, and I know there's not many details to release, but just a quick update from you.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking about it. So we have obviously had investigative resources spending a considerable amount of time on this particular case. At this point in time, we do believe that it was a random incident, so those are always concerning to us, and we certainly urge folks to be aware of their surroundings whenever they are out and about, regardless of their situation or where they're at. It's just a good overall personal safety behavior to use. We did work with the victim and developed a composite sketch of a potential suspect in this case. That has been distributed to other law enforcement agencies as well as to the media. And also in the days following that incident, we increased our presence in and around all of the exercise facilities in Fitchburg as well, just to help give people hopefully a bit of added peace of mind that the area that they were in was safe. We do have to say that there is not a lot of random crime that happens really in the Madison metropolitan area, and specifically in Fitchburg. Does random crime happen? Yes, it does, but by and large, it's a very, very small percentage of the criminal activity that takes place in this area. So I do think that folks need to be, take that under consideration as they evaluate what had happened here. That certainly doesn't diminish the impacts that it does have on the victim or the community itself, but by and large, we are in a very safe community.
And how important now, as time goes on, and maybe leads shorten up here, but the see something, say something. I know I bring it up to you all the time.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I knew it was coming. But even moving forward here for keeping your surroundings, if you notice something, when's that time to call you guys and or submit a tip?
Well, sometimes it's just trusting your intuition, right? If your intuition is telling you that something's not right here and there's possibly some criminal activity at play here or a public safety issue at play here, make the phone call to us. It's one of the things that we still value is being a service-oriented police department. If you call our department, you either ask to speak with an officer or ask for an officer to come to your location or come check out the area. Assuming we're not on some other incident, we have the resources available, we're going to have somebody have that conversation with you or send that officer to wherever you'd like them to take a look at. We just ask that you obviously share as much information as you possibly can. If you're able to get detailed descriptions of the people or vehicles and the behavior that they're doing, that's going to make us make a much more informed decision on our response to the situation.
Yeah, and you can always submit crime tips. You can call the police department, the website, very helpful as well. So if you want to submit that way, lots of resources. FitchburgWI.gov is there. Turning the tables here to springtime safety, as people get out and enjoy the beautifulness of spring and outdoors and warm weather.
It does feel beautiful compared to what we had.
I just passed one of your officers coming back from something that had their window down. I was like, "Yep, this is the time of year."
I've seen a few short sleeve shirts come out in the police department too. So
well,
I'm still keeping my arms covered for the time being, but that's
you
probably
get a tan built up.
There's no doubt there's a lack of color on my arms, and among other things. But anyway. Springtime is seemingly on its way here, and we have seen with the snow melting an increase in pedestrians and bicyclists out on our roadways. So obviously our motorists, we really wish that they make sure that they're driving at appropriate speeds, safe speeds, wearing their seatbelts, and driving free of distractions, and obviously not driving while under the influence of alcohol or narcotics as well. Reducing speeds in our residential neighborhoods is always very important as you're approaching intersections and so forth. Being aware of kids on bicycles and those sorts of things. As the weather warms, we know that those kids will start getting their bikes out, and some kids might be learning how to ride the bikes, and you're going to start seeing more adults with the cycling groups and so forth beginning to use our roadways, and I've seen quite a few people already using the bike trails in Fitchburg. So it's just a time to kind of refresh your driving and awareness skills. And also, we're also going to be seeing, I'm sure, some increased speeds now that the weather has kind of cleared, and a lot of the pothole patrols have been out and getting those fixed. So if you are in an area of Fitchburg, residential or otherwise, in our rural areas as well, please feel free to give us a call if you have concerns about traffic-related matters in your neighborhood as well.
I was just going to follow up with that if you're like, I'm tired of the people driving, and I'm not saying it for anyone. Yeah. I'm tired of it where I live.
Sure. Yep.
But if you do, what is the type of information you want? Because if you just call and say, well, I just feel like everybody's just speeding across here like crazy. What could we do to collect some data to give you guys to up that?
Sure. It's always helpful to have an approximate time of day. It might be rush hours in the morning or rush hours both morning and afternoon, or maybe it's, between 11 and 1 o'clock on a weekday. It just depends on your particular situation wherever you live, but if you can kind of help narrow down the time frame where it may be most beneficial for us to spend some time in that particular location, depending upon our resources and availability, we'll certainly do our best to work that into our duties. If you also have vehicle descriptions, that can be helpful, but obviously that can be pretty challenging to get, and most people aren't standing at the end of their driveway, jotting down vehicle descriptions or license plates or those sorts of things.
Maybe it's the time to get that lawn chair out and sit at the...
It could be. Sit in your driveway.
No recommendations.
Got it. Hopefully folks don't have that kind of situation in their neighborhood that they feel like they would need to invest that kind of time. But obviously if they do have some issues, we'd love to hear about them.
Fantastic. Well, Chad, always a pleasure having you up here. Tell everybody hi for us. Stay safe out there, and we look forward to having you back next month.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, Chad Breckling, your Chief of Police, Fitchburg Police Department. Always a pleasure to have him on board. I just got to talk about him just because he can't say anything. All right, anyway, we're going to take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.